Hi, my name is Bonnie Bradshaw, and I am a speaker, author, and a certified life coach. The one thing that I'm very passionate about is youth, our children, the leaders of tomorrow. And the reason I guess that I have such a passion for them is the way that I grew up. And this isn't a sad sob story that, I want pity from everybody. It's a story to show you that no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you're going through in life, you are the ultimate designer of how your life is going to turn out. And I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I would love for you guys to all just soar right over to her page and like her on Facebook. It's filmmaker Lydia Joyner. She's a former foster child, and she is making a movie about her life, and it is going to be out of this world. I'm telling you. Um, she needs all the support she can get. She has experience in film development, and when you go over to her page and you check out all that she's doing, you'll understand what I'm saying. But I'm going to share with you a little bit about my life. I never per se made it into foster care, but I was in the foster care system. I was born to a mentally challenged um, young woman, as my brother was 18 months before myself. We were raised off and on. Billy stayed with my grandparents, and at age 5, we were brought home from the hospital by my grandparents. But at age 5, my mom shows up, and after being told that girls are really a problem to families because of what my grandmother went through with her two girls. The last thing in the world she wanted was another girl. And I just happened to be a girl that got brought into her family. So, in her mind, back in the day, I was a problem right from the very beginning. So, my mom shows up when I was 5, and she promises me the moon. And of course, I'm 5 years old. I feel unloved, unwanted. Um, I wanted the bedroom to myself and not have to share. I wanted all the pretty dresses, and I wanted, my own pet and all of the different wonderful material things that my mom promised me. And I fell for that. She had reconnected with my birth father, which had just gotten out of the United States Navy, and he lived in Buffalo, New York. He had 19 brothers and sisters all together, and my mom wanted to go to New York. He paid her way. She came and got me, and I will never, ever, for as long as I live, forget the look in my grandmother's eyes when I left. And she was very disgusted with me that I would even want to leave her, and she told me that if I left, I wasn't coming back. And my brother, to this day, I love him so much. And to me, the relationship between my brother and I was almost like twins, because we depended on each other. I mean, he was great at everything: baseball, football, art. I mean, he didn't know a stranger, and I was a shy introvert that would just rather stay home and play with my paper dolls. And it was I was older before anybody realized that my brother had a little sister. So that'll tell you how shy I was. And so I left, and I went on this plane ride to Buffalo, New York to meet my dad. So it was kind of exciting to meet my dad and hopefully have all the promises that my mom made to come true. And I would be a little princess, and so the sadness kind of turned into excitement because I have never been on a plane before, and this was the first day of the journey of my new life. And we get to New York, and aunts and cousins and uncles and grandparents and everybody's there to meet me for the first time. And my dad seemed nice, but I was really shy, so kind of standoffish. And I had two aunts, Denise and Cassie, and I love them. And to this day, I'm going to be 50 in October, and I still remember fondly memories of them. I can remember making paper flowers for the very first time with them. And but that night when it came time to go to bed is where my journey began. And that's when I realized that the decision I made was one of the worst ones that any little girl could ever make, by leaving my grandmother. Even though I never felt loved, I was kind of reminded of that. I would have been better off to stay there. So the very first night, I was scared and I didn't want to sleep in my room. So my mom said I could sleep between her and my dad, which was kind of icky, uncomfortable, because I really didn't know him. And what I really wanted was my dad, my mom, and me on the other side. And I really kind of didn't know her, but I had more of a connection with her than I did him. Well, my mom insisted that I sleep between them, and I did. And that's when all hell in my life started. So my dad began to fondle me, and I can remember, his hands slipping into my underpants, and I was just like stiff as a board. What is this man doing to me? And I looked over at him, and I was pushing his hand away, and he told me to stop, and if I said anything to my mom, that she would never believe me. And I just kept looking over at her thinking, please wake up, please wake up. And she never did. And he said that she would never believe me, she would hate me, and that I better keep my mouth shut, being in a strange place. And years later, I come to find out that my dad was right. So this is where I'm going to stop right now. And I'm going to continue with this a little bit at a time. But what I want you to understand is that I'm putting this out there not as woe is me and this pitiful, and there's enough bad tragedy in this world. But because of the things that happened to me, and as we go on with this kind of a video diary, you'll understand where I'm coming from. A lot of people don't want to hear about this, and I don't blame them. But it's a fact of life, and it doesn't stop. And there's kids every single day that's going through what I went through, and a whole lot worse. So what I'm trying to tell you is there's success stories because of what I went through all through my childhood and growing up, and the stories will be unbelievable. You will be saying, believe me, that there's no way that one person could ever go through all this and turn out okay. Well, I did, and I turned out fine. I am married. I've graduated college, Bible college. I'm an ordained pastor, and an ordained minister. I don't pastor a church. I work with kids. I've been a foster parent for over 20 years, and I've had great success stories with the kids that I've fostered. And I'm writing a book. I've owned a couple of different businesses, and I'm a success story. I'm married to a wonderful man. I have great kids. Doctors told me that I would never ever be able to get pregnant, and I've given birth to 3 wonderful children. We've adopted. We own our home. We travel, we do things, and it just takes determination. And one of the things my friend Lydia was telling you about, she really hit the nail on the head when we were talking today, how 2 people can go through the exact same thing and both can turn out completely different. And one of the psychology classes I took, I had to write a paper about that. And it was about a young lady that I personally know, who had so many different issues, and they grew up in the same part of town, like a street over from someone else, and how their lives were so different. And just like with me, I grew up in the same place with a lot of other people, and our lives are completely opposites. We've gone completely different directions. But it just depends on the people that you have in your life, the adults, your willpower, determination, how you view the world, how you view yourself. And that takes time. And I firmly believe that surrounding yourself with the right people is such a great blessing and such a great benefit. And I'll share that story with you soon. And it all comes from a judge, actually, in Florida. And that's one of the most amazing stories that ever happened to me. And it completely changed my life and the way I look at myself. And that's what I'm trying to say. It takes one person to get involved in a youth's life to completely change their outlook. I travel to schools. I've been to Regent University in Virginia Beach and sat on a panel of experts that we address the graduating law students about foster care and the importance of laws and change, and really listening to the kids, because it's been my experience in the last almost 21 years that we go to court and the guardian ad litem's have never seen this kid before, and what a child looks like on paper is completely different than who that child completely is, because what you're reading on paper is somebody else's viewpoint of that child. And if the guardian ad litem's would just take the time to go visit, we've had two, thank God. They were wonderful guardian ad litem's, and they really, really fought for these kids. They would come to my home and they'd want to see the child's bedroom, and the child's report card, and how the children were doing in school. And I mean, they asked all the right questions, and they could tell that these kids were very well nurtured, very well taken care of, but a lot of them aren't, and that's the sad part. And unless the guardian ad litem's go into the home and actually see and talk to the kids, I don't for a second believe that they can rightfully stand up and take care of the children. They can't speak for a minor that they've never met. So I will continue my video diary, and I hope that you get something out of this, that I can bring light to a dark subject, and hopefully even if I help one person, it's worth it. It's worth sharing my story. So until next time, have a blessed day, and may God bless every step you take.